contradicting or not in line with Constitution of 1945, then the Indonesian people can bring that kind of regulation before the Constitutional Court to make a decision whether such kind of regulation can be annulled or not. Okay? And then the second one is laws or acts or undang-undang. A lot of undang-undang has been issued by the Indonesian government. Among other things is investment law of 2007. Okay? And the third one is, we call it government regulation or peraturan pemerintah. Okay? A law or an act cannot be implemented if there is no government regulation. Or in other words, the government regulation are the regulation which elaborating in detail the profession which embodied in the act. So for example, if there is an investment act 2007, there must be followed by some government regulation in order to implement it. Otherwise, those acts will not be operation or will not be freely applicable to Indonesian people. Okay, so you can imagine if there are 10 acts or 10 laws, it must be 10 government regulation or more. Yeah, but you don't have to be worried about that. Let it give it to the lawyer to deal it. Yeah, give it to Mr. Richard Yap Sunto or academician to deal with it. Yeah, and then there is a lot of presidential regulation, which one of it is about negative list. It's very important for the foreign investor to be discussed. And the last one, regional regulation, or we call it peraturan daerah, perda. Regional regulation issued by the governors or by the residents at the level of provincial, regency, or municipality. This one, number 5, yeah, regional regulations sometimes are not good. Why? Because regional regulations made by the governor or the local parliament without consulting to the Indonesian government first. For example, yeah, there is an investment law prohibiting some base of field. Yeah, so let's say it's just an example. Retail trading is not allowed to foreign investor, but perhaps there will be a regional regulation issued by the province of Kalimantan, East Kalimantan, for example, which allow foreigners to make up or to set up a company in retail trading. It's just ridiculous, but this can happen because there is no good coordination between the central government and local government. And local government now sometimes are conducting like what we call it in Indonesia, Raja Kecil, a little prince or little king, because they have a local autonomy. So they assume they can act freely without consulting to the central government. That is why I think last couple years ago, the Minister of Interior of Indonesia made a statement that the government will annul, will revoke some regional regulation, especially those regulations which hindering foreigners to come. Yeah, so in case you have to deal with the regional regulations, just be careful. Make sure that the regional regulation doesn't confront or doesn't inconsistent with another higher law. If that happen, so your lawyer, can bring the case before the court and ask the court to say that the regional regulations cannot be applied. Yeah, because it's inconsistent with the presidential regulation or even inconsistent to Constitution principle of 1945. Okay. Okay, now let me move to the second part, setting up business activities in Indonesia. Okay. Usually, a foreign investor, before making a decision to set up a company, they do have quite a lot of alternative options. One of which is choosing or appointing agent or distributor. I think you already know the differences in legal terms about agent and distributor. Okay, and also the foreign investor can set up a representative office. Okay, but please be remembered that according Indonesian law, a representative office, only having a very limited power. Okay, because its activity, is limited only to supervise and coordinate the business of its principal. It is not allowed to undertake business transaction, with companies or persons in Indonesia, either for export or import or for domestic trading. So, establishing a representative office maybe is the cheapest way of initiating conducting business in Indonesia. But a representative office will be given a very limited power according to Indonesian law in conducting the business of its principal. They do not allow to undertake activities or commercial activities. They only allowed to, let's say, promote the new market, or to conduct a research market, probably, and so on, like I said before, Korean company, Now in Indonesia, a lot of Korean people come to Indonesia, to study Indonesian language, bahasa Indonesia, and even to study Indonesian political and Indonesian legal studies. A lot of people from Korea studying legal and political system in my university, and I wonder why. So I have a discussion with other colleagues and something like that. We come up with conclusion. Maybe I say this not in the negative context, not at all. But to be honest, I said probably some Korean are studying something in Indonesia in order to give some feedback to its government, to tell the government, their government, about the Indonesian way of life, Indonesian people habitual. Because at the present time, as I said before, a lot of product come from Korea, including a music sectors, or we call it a creative economic sector. Music, film, or cinema, are coming from Thai. And the youth of Korean people who are studying Indonesia, they set up courses, teaching Indonesian pupil about the Bahasa Korea or Korean language and Korean traditions. I don't mind about that at all, but it just remind me how prepare the Korean government, in supporting their private sector to export their way of life, to export their culture, as well as to export their product to ASEAN countries. Perhaps the Thai government should follow that kind of way. And about the representative office, a representative office can be established in one of province capitals. So it's up to you whether you want to set up a representative office in, let's say, in Jakarta or in Bandung or in Semarang or in Yogyakarta. Either on, you can establish a company, which I will tell it later on. Okay? Now, let me move to the foreign direct investment part of my speech. Okay. As I said before, Indonesia is a very great or emerging democratic country. We do have almost 240 million people. So it's very, very populous a country. Yeah? And the interesting things is we do have a middle class economic sector which is growing up rapidly. Almost half of 240 millions can be called as a middle class, and you know that middle class economy, middle class sector, they do have some or great resources, great money to spend to buy something. So in terms of economic point of view, people say that Indonesia is having a huge or potential huge market for foreign products. Okay, yeah, and also we do have abundance of natural resources. As you know, we do have oil and gas resources. Even we do have uranium, the material for making the atomic bomb. Yeah, and also we do have a labor force. Skillful or unskillful labor. Yes, indeed, you may watch television or read newspaper that several months ago there was a big protest that conducted by the labor workers organization. They are fighting in order to be given opportunity to work freely and also to be given high payment, wage payment monthly, and they are successful in what they call asking or expressing their interests. So now some people say that be careful, Indonesia do have a lot of labor force, but the minimum wage is increasing rapidly. So it is another what they call it dilemma. Yeah, we do want to attract foreigners to come to Indonesia to make a business or to do foreign investment, but on the other hand, some province has a regulation, provincial regulation, which determines that the wage minimum for employee for skilled labor is quite high.